at least the English or something, it will certainly help. And let's begin for today. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Gurave Gaurachandraya, Radhikaya Tadalaye, Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya, Namo Namaha. So this is session 3, my dear friends. I'm so happy to be reading with this book, The 4 Questions by His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, with all of you. We have read, we are, I think, still it's the introduction part. The questions have not yet started. We are on this section. Questions are the answers, right? So we discuss about how the question is so important. It helps to understand the bigger picture. It helps us to know what we don't. It helps us to, open up the world of self-reflection. And the quality of our life depends on the quality of our question. So don't stop questioning in a humble mode, in a good attitude. So with that, I think we have to read from this, right? Search for happiness. Okay. Yes, who would like to start? Maybe Avani can start.
The Search for Happiness. Imagine America in 1945. World War II is over. Medical researchers announced a class of wonder drugs that promise to eradicate most, if not all, diseases. Electronic engineers are on the verge of completing an electronic brain, a precursor to the modern computer, which can do 5,000 computations per second. The military churns out new state-of-the-art weaponry, long-range bombers, radar, and nuclear weapons, which make America and its allies appear invincible. Today, almost 80 years later, the refinement of technology continues. With a smartphone, one can manage a small business, order products to be delivered overnight, listen to music, and watch movies chosen from catalogs containing millions of titles. These wonders have not, however, relieved our anxieties. They've merely added new ones. We now worry about the pernicious effects of TV, streaming videos, social media, and video games. Plastics choke our oceans and waterways, diseases appear and then mutate to circumvent our medicines. What's more, we feel entitled to miraculous technological inventions and become impatient with laptop computers or smartphones if they are not noticeably faster than the previous models. Please don't think that I'm against progress in the technological sciences. I'm not. I marvel when I hear of successful liver transplants, hip replacements, and heart surgeries. I use a smartphone, airplanes, and cars, but have our scientific discoveries and mind-blowing technologies brought us the happiness for which we had hoped? Examine any famous street in Paris, Cairo, London, or New York, and you'll find plenty of shops where you can buy clothes or coffee, have your hair styled or nails polished. But where are the shops selling the secrets to full satisfaction and a truly happy life?
There you go. Thank you. Where are the shops selling the secrets to full satisfaction and truly happy life? So I think the idea here is that yes, we have advanced in technology, we have fancier cars and jet planes and smarter phones, but are people really happy? Are people really satisfied? That's a big question, right? So something to ponder, right? So technology, we're not against it, yes, but that has not really brought true happiness in the lives of people. Rather, the unhappiness has increased as the decades are progressing. You agree with that? Hmm? Okay. Yes, Vinita, you want to read next?
The Yoga Wisdom Literatures. In the wisdom texts of the Vedic tradition specialize in happiness. Veda means knowledge, and the Vedas are ancient but ageless texts containing knowledge that leads us to happiness. We learn from them that human life is meant for self-inquiry, and that whatever we do should lead to self-discovery and the purification of our body, mind, and consciousness. Vedic teachers show by example how to live a more peaceful and balanced life. They don't neglect science or technology, but instead teach us how to use them purposefully so that we can attain our full potential.
Interesting, huh? So this is the mood of a devotee, and technically, anyone knows what it's called? We don't neglect modern science technology, but we use it purposefully. Yukta Vairagya, right? You're not saying I'll just be in the forest and sleep under a tree. This is Yukta Vairagya, using the things which ultimately everything is made by God, directly or indirectly. So we'll use them for a right purpose. We use the phones, the laptops, the cars for right purpose to attain our full potential. Interesting, right? Okay. Any thoughts after seeing this picture? Any comments? What do you see? Yes, Vedi?
It looks kind of like that person has climbed down kind of and is searching for like his heart, so like his purpose, I guess.
Wow.
And like it's in the darkness. That's why it
Mhm.
because he doesn't have that knowledge yet. So
Mhm.
something like that.
Interesting. Very thoughtful. Did you already read it? Good. Yes, Atar, what's on your mind?
Maybe it's like that person is trying to find the good in his heart, and that's what he's been searching for this long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Any other thoughts? I mean, there's no one right answer here. It's just, and it's not even in the book, I guess. Like, I mean, it's not an exercise. It's just like I thought to ask. Uh, I'm also thinking, don't you see like kind of questions leading to one question to the other, and then ultimately the quest to heart, right? So if you like invert this, oops, it's like question, right? Another question, right? So if you see questions leading to question, and then it basically leads to self-awakening, right? Or the journey within. Many people are just going out. So it's like a journey, right? Another way to look at it is like a journey, looking for happiness outside, but trying to come inside. We forget there's any other thoughts? Okay, let's go deeper. Yes, Lakshay,
Should I start from true poetry or the Vedas?
the Vedas.
The Vedas include the oldest books in the world. The Rig Veda was written 5,000 years ago. As an abundance of these ancient texts, including the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, give practical instruction through philosophy and recorded history on how to improve our lives by living in harmony with nature's laws and by rising above samsara, the cycle of birth and death. Through these wisdom Through these wisdom literatures, Vedic culture gives us Sanskrit, humankind's most perfectly constructed language from which all other languages have evolved. Ayurveda, the science of medicine that not only heals but also prolongs one's lives by balancing the natural forces within one's body, and meditation, the practice of which brings us multiple physical and mental benefits. Vedic culture has contributed all this to human society and so much more. Hare Krishna.
Interesting. Right. So basically, importance of Vedas, right? Okay. A third. Next.
Through these wisdom literatures, Vedic culture has gave us Sanskrit, humankind's most perfect constructed
I think
language.
here, right?
Oh,
The last sentence.
uh, the Vedas reveal that their wisdom through questions and answers. A student inquires and a teacher responds, a mode of discourse we find in both the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In 700 verses of the Gita, the hero of the story, Arjuna, asks question of his teacher or guru, Krishna. In the Bhagavatam, which begins where the Bhagavad Gita leaves off, King Parikshit, Parik, King Parikshit's inquiry from his guide, Sukadeva Goswami, expand into 18,000 verses of spiritual instruction.
Very nice. I think this part all of you know. Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are the original like podcast, right? What is podcast? Question answer. Many people like to hear these days, but that's the original one. So Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna is asking, Krishna is answering 700 questions, 700 verses. And then Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami, 18,000 verses. So they are really not just questions for Parikshit, but for all of us. Maybe, yes.
Sit near to learn. A section of the Vedas called the Upanishads directs us to realize our spiritual nature. The word Upanishad means to sit near. The name implies that to learn spiritual science, one must sit close to those who have such wisdom, ask them questions, and listen attentively to their answers. The Vedanta Sutras embody the essential meaning of the Upanishads. Vedanta means the conclusion of knowledge, and the Sutra means thread. The Vedanta Sutras invite us to weave these threads of wisdom into the fabric of our lives. These books present universal wisdom, speaking to us as souls rather than to our present identities related to our temporary material bodies. They advocate that we live to discover truth, reality distinguished from illusion. This wisdom and practice is accessible to any sincere seeker. Sadhus gather this wisdom, practice it, and teach it to others. They penetrate the superficial and live in the beauty of reality by asking 4 questions. What is my purpose? How may I be of service? What is the lesson? Where am I investing my attention right now? Anyone can become a sadhu by asking the 4 questions as they move through life. Hare Krishna.
Any thoughts, anyone so far? What does Upanishad mean? Yes, Evan?
To sit near.
Sit near what, TV?
No. to sit near like sadhus, like people who are full of wisdom.
Yeah. To sit near and hear a secret, like upavas, right? Upavas means to reside near. Reside near whom? Reside near. Why do we do upavas? To please Lord Hari. Upavas. Upanishad. To sit near the Lord or the scriptures or sadhus, as you said, so that we can awaken. What does Vedanta Sutra mean? What does Vedanta mean? Yes, Vedi. All of you heard just now. Please participate. Vedanta, others can type also. Yes.
It was the knowledge of the Vedas.
Yes. Vedanta, conclusion of the Vedas.
Conclusion.
AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, you should know each word. Why? What does it mean? Right? We say that, right? Bhakti Vedanta Swami. So Vedanta is the conclusion of the scriptures, Vedas. And what does Sutra mean? Everyone is reading, right? Okay, please, when you read, try to absorb also, okay? Otherwise, you'll forget what we read. Yes, Sutra, Evadri.
The thread.
Right. So what's the connection here? What we read?
It's like the conclusion of the Vedas is all like together in one thread, I guess.
Yeah. And we need to weave the fabric of our life through the Vedanta Sutra. Beautiful example. Just imagine what is fabric, a cloth, or has any one of you done that? Like woven something and made some fabric by passing through threads, right? So imagine now we have to weave the fabric of our life. That means our life should be based on scriptures. That's the conclusion. Beautiful example here, right? Weave the threads of wisdom into the fabric of our lives, right? Let it enter through the medium of our ears, right? And it's for everyone, no matter who we are, right? And these are the 4 fundamental questions which will make us a sadhu. Everyone good? Now Upanishad, Vedanta Sutra. Next, become a sadhu. Yes, Shital Mataji. Want to read, please?
Sure, Mithil. Sure, Prabhuji, sir. Hare Krishna. Become a sadhu. Dating back to prehistory, the Vedas have been passed down through a lineage of sadhus by the principle of each one teach one. Each sadhu presents the same ancient Vedic principles but makes them relevant and practical for their modern day students. Sadhus also show us by example how to spiritualize whatever we have by using it in service to our source. The sadhu's credo is water the root and all the leaves and branches are automatically nourished. The root is our source, Krishna, to whom sadhus dedicate themselves in service. Sadhus teach us to look beyond our conceptions of material reality and investigate the subtle laws of the universe. They know that life is a classroom, that our present life is a preparation for our ultimate destination, that we are spiritual beings in material bodies, and that every living entity, indeed all energies, come from a common, divine source that is personal and benevolent. Above our instinct to survive is our need to feel whole. Can we find contentment even as we struggle to survive? Can we take from the world in such a way that we don't transgress the natural rights of other living beings? Can we reach our highest potential amidst a world of distractions? To all these questions and more, the sadhu says, yes. They say that our feelings of incompleteness come from not having complete knowledge of our source, and that an ideal way of life will uncover our virtuous qualities. Sadhus not only teach us universal spiritual practices, that evoke our virtuous qualities but also show us how to pass those practices on for the benefit of others. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Any thoughts? Becoming a sadhu, this was the topic. Any thoughts, anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I share a point? Okay.
Yes, please.
So, in this one, like this section which Mataji read, it was also told that, like, sadhus, like they are guiding us to realize the knowledge, like, beyond this material world. And I read somewhere that they compare, like, the body as the boat, the material world as the ocean, and the guru as the boatman who directs to cross this material ocean. So again, like importance of having the guru in our lives, and following the instructions very sincerely.
Wonderful. Life is like a classroom, right? Beautiful example, right? What do we do in classroom? We learn, right? We grow. We help. It helps us to bring the better in us, right? Beautiful example. So each one teach one, being taught by one. So, okay, let's read further. A Tale of Two Sadhus. Is Neeta Mataji, you want to read this?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. A tale of two sadhus. Anyone can become a sadhu by following the simplified process chalked out by sadhus. Two famous sadhus who taught by example and left a wealth of literature started as apparently worldly men. Dabir and Sakar lived in 15th century Bengal, India. Both were highly educated, wealthy, and
Anyone knows whom are we talking about? Who? I mean, you have read this. Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, right? And this is Lord Chaitanya sitting. So they were serving under the Muslim, governor as home minister and finance minister. They were given Muslim names, Sakar Malik and the Bir Khas. So this is a tale of two sadhus. Sorry, I leaked a little bit, but it's good to know the context. Yes, we'll continue. Yes.
wealthy and influential. Both spoke several languages. Sakar was Bengal's chief minister. Dabir is minister of finance. Although both Dabir and Sakar were dutiful, well loved, and materially opulent, neither was satisfied. They yearned to know the ultimate goal of life. Then they heard of a traveling monk named Chaitanya, who happened to be camped nearby in Ramkeli, West Bengal. Chaitanya was effulgent and charismatic, vastly learned, and yet renowned for his humility and lack of worldly attachments. Wherever he traveled, he inspired the public to chant and dance with him in spiritual rapture. Chaitanya's daily festivals attracted tens of thousands of people. Amazed by his unparalleled influence, Dabir and Sakar desired to meet him. They wrote him a letter requesting an audience, but after not receiving a reply for some days, they decided to go to his nearby encampment. One evening, disguised as commoners, they slipped away from their stately homes, went to the festival, and there saw Chaitanya in all his splendor, presenting themselves as student. They asked for his tutelage, and Chaitanya welcomed the two brothers as old friends and at once accepted them as his disciples, anointing them with the spiritual names Sanatan Goswami for Sakar and Rup Goswami for Dabir. In time, Rup and Sanatan returned to their posts, but both were eager to retire. join Chaitanya, and embrace a life of spiritual dedication. Roop was first. After retiring from his government post and trying up his material affairs, he left his home and met Chaitanya at Prayag, a pilgrimage town on the bank of Ganges. There, he presented himself to Chaitanya as a humble student and made inquiries. For the following 10 days, Chaitanya instructed him in the principles of Bhakti Yoga, devotional service to Krishna. Sanatan had more difficulty than Rupa in breaking away from his responsibilities. When his employer, Nawab Hussain Shah, the king of Bengal, found out that Sanatan, like his brother, intended to leave his duty to join Chaitanya, he imprisoned Sanatan and told him, either do your duty or stay in jail. But Roop had left Sanatan a stock of gold coins just in case of such an emergency, and Sanatan used them to bribe the jailkeeper. In this way, he escaped and made a long clandestine trek to Varanasi, where he met Chaitanya and stayed with him to learn the science of devotional service. Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami set the standard for all those who wish to advance in spiritual life. The path opens when one asks relevant questions of a qualified teacher. No matter who we are or how learned we may be, our journey begins in earnest by asking questions in the mood of a novice. By asking the right question in the right mood, one receives clarity and direction along their spiritual path. From sadhus, we can get answers that help us achieve our full potential. The Bhagavad Gita recommends approach the wise in a humble mood, serve them, and then ask them how to perfect your life. How many opportunities do we get to ask such questions during our short, busy lives? Not many. After meeting Chaitanya, therefore, Roop wrote that the only price for entering the spiritual path is one's eagerness. If the opportunity is available to you, he stated, don't hesitate. Run immediately to embrace it. In his introduction to Bhagavad Gita, as it is, Srila Prabhupada addresses the same point. Out of so many human beings who are suffering, there are a few who are actually inquiring about their position as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami became Chaitanya's foremost disciples, as they were not only learned but also the most eager to inquire from him. After inquiring and then learning from him, they became world-renowned teachers and authors themselves. Sadhus, writing dozens of books on the science of Bhakti Yoga and establishing spiritual centers that have served as place of learning for spiritual seekers from the 16th century up through today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for reading this section. Any thoughts there? The tale of two sadhus, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami.
Just a question, maybe, Prabhuji, the appropriate question, or not asking trivial question. How one should know, the question is question, right? Like if I have some question that could be trivial for, like that trivial question can help me sometime even to progress from my position. So how do we identify trivial or perfect question?
See, it doesn't matter the question is trivial or not. Like trivial could be, I think we discussed maybe you go for a program, let's say, and you're asking, why is that banner not red color? I like red color, it should be red color. Why is it blue? Right? Doesn't matter the banner is red or blue. We are not here to judge the color of the banner, but we are here to attend the program and hear what these sadhus are speaking. right? Why is there a long queue in the prasad, right? It's a trivial question, right? I mean, why? Like, and sometimes, let's say someone is asking, hey, why do you put tilak? Someone asked Prabhupada, why do you put tilak? See, Prabhupada judged the mood. I mean, that question is not bad, right? He had an inquiry, but his mood was not correct. Someone could be asking, what do you think? Like by putting tilak, you become a big devotee. Why are you putting this tilak? You see, the mood is totally different. So the mood also matters. If someone is humble, Roji, with all respect and without offending anyone, I have a question. I'm not sure. Why do we put Vaishnav tilak? Can you please help me to understand the importance of tilak and why do we put, how do we put, etc.? Then it's not trivial. You had a question, it was not clear, and it's okay to ask. But if someone asks, but the mood also matters, right? So more than is it trivial or not? So we discussed some examples of trivial questions, right? Why is the wall color not like some people come, why are they sitting on the chair in the temple, right? Well, they maybe have some leg issue or they can't sit down. It's okay. They're sitting on the chair. What's the big deal? Let's not make it a big deal, right? It's okay, right? So that's a trivial thing. What are they doing? Like some people said, hey, Prabhupada, your people's present pronunciation is not proper. Right? Look at what they are doing. They've given their life to Krishna service. You're not saying that they've come from a Vedic background. Still, they are trying to recite Sanskrit verses, right? Does that help to understand trivial
Yes.
versus some
Yes, Prabhu.
examples?
Yeah. Mhm.
What is the value, right? We should ask. Some people ask question, oh, did this pastime happen in Satyuga, Kali Yuga, or which yuga it happened, or which Manvantar it happened out of the 14 Manvantars. If it's not mentioned in the Bhagavatam, it's okay. We don't need to like dive sometimes so deep. Like it's okay. It's not mentioned. It's not so important. But what lesson we take from that pastime is much more important. So we should, focus more on that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
So the key thing we see, like Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they were very influential, very knowledgeable, very wealthy, had the best of the houses, best of the possessions, best of money, name, fame, recognition. But as we see, they were not satisfied and happy. And then they approached their spiritual master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and asked questions and learned the science of bhakti from him. And that's how then they were teaching, sharing, and they are the acharyas in our Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Sampradaya. So the essence is the spiritual journey begins by earnestly asking question in the mood of a beginner, novice, that I'm not perfect, I don't know anything, not thinking I know better. Let me test if this teacher knows something or not. So, the 4 questions can transform your life and awaken your highest potential. Asking them for yourself regularly and whenever you need them will elevate your perspective and awaken your spiritual vision. This is what Bhagavad Gita 13:22 refers to as the vision of eternity. Hare Krishna. So these questions are not just like read once and then, whenever we feel confused, whenever we feel lost, whenever we kind of feel directionless, we should ask these questions. And it happens to us maybe more than once in a lifetime, right? Every now and then we may have doubts, dilemmas, so we can ask ourselves these questions. Manjulali, Priya, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I can read this in the next section maybe.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance. When we are aligned with our purpose, we act with integrity and vigor. Both our mental and physical health improve, and we become more effective. When we know our purpose, we proceed with confidence.
Something to write on our desks. Okay, let's read a little bit of question 1. You want to continue?
Question 1. What is my purpose? Is it possible to go a whole day without considering the purpose behind what you're doing? Absolutely. Is it possible to work for weeks, months, years, or even a lifetime without inquiring about one's purpose? Sadly, yes. The fact is that most people don't inquire at all. The yoga wisdom texts say that humans not only can, but must ask this question in order to be happy. This is why the Vedanta Sutras prompt us humans to use our special mental capacities to inquire about our ultimate purpose. People often assume that they know the purpose for which they work, travel, and hold on to things, but often they don't. Just because one is absorbed in work, adherent to a ritual, or attached to something doesn't mean that these endeavors are well thought out and reasonable. In his book, How to Win an Argument, New York University professor of rhetoric Michael Gilbert points out that the most common mistake people make when they argue is to forget the purpose for which they are arguing. When suddenly you no longer know what you're arguing about, he advises, check to see if the subject was changed. He also warns that many debaters are subject switchers and suggests that when we debate, we should remember the purpose for which we are debating. He writes, it is very easy to find out what the argument is about. Ask. Once you're back on track, you can be effective. Similarly, our minds can switch subjects on us. Have you ever picked up your cell phone to look at an email and ended up surfing the internet? Whatever you are doing, when you ask yourself, what is my purpose? You realign yourself. Are there things you are currently doing for which you've forgotten your purpose? Try asking yourself why you're doing them. We pick up habits and rituals from friends and family and then stick to them without remembering or even knowing their purpose. Thank you.
Okay. Raise your hand if it has happened to you. You thought, let me check a quick email if that person emailed me or not. And we open the phone to check the email, but 30 minutes later we realize, oh, I got distracted. I from email to Gmail to WhatsApp to Facebook to whatnot, and I even forgot to check if the email came. Has anyone experienced that? Right? It happens to us. Same with work, same with so many things in life. So what's the purpose? Even the debaters, yeah, Maharaj explains here that the debaters, they may lose their purpose. So it's good to ask, what is my purpose? What's the purpose of my day? What's the purpose of my week? Otherwise, the life could go on without asking that question, and time may just fly. So we'll read this cat story and then we'll pause. Yes, Vinita, I guess you didn't read much, so you can read this.
The Cat in the Basket. A cleric was once training his students how to perform a wedding. During the cleric's tutorial, a frisky cat who lived on the church premises kept interrupting the proceedings by meowing and playing with the ceremonial items. To pacify the cat, the cleric asked one of his students to bring it a bowl of milk. After plying the rambunctious cat with milk, the cleric, a cat lover himself, stroked the cat until it became drowsy and fell asleep. Having accomplished his goal, he put the sleeping cat in a small basket in the corner of the room so that it might not disturb his teachings. Meanwhile, as the priest's students took notes regarding the details of the ceremony, they also wrote down the process for putting a frisky cat to sleep. A few years later, when the head priest was out of town, his students had to perform their first wedding without him. As they were about to commence the ceremony, one of them, referring to his notes, cried out, "Wait, stop. We cannot start the ceremony without a cat in the basket." So, following the notes they had taken when learning the process from their teacher, some of the students fetched a cat, gave it some milk, lulled it to sleep, and gently placed it in a basket in the corner of the room. Then the wedding ceremony proceeded, and from that day forward, the students in the cleric's lineage have required that to properly conduct a wedding, there must be a cat asleep in a basket. This tale points out people's tendency to follow blindly without seeking to understand why rituals exist or why theories are accepted as truth. Are you holding on to any cat in the basket rituals or presumptions in your life? If so, ask, are they true? What's their purpose and what's my purpose to see if they belong?
Interesting, right? You like the story? And often it may sound like very funny, but it's happening everywhere, right? We do something just because someone before us did that without knowing why. Why the cat in the basket? So, something to think about. So, what we'll do, we can pause here. And any thoughts, comments before we pause for today? Any quick reflections from today's reading? Any take home?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, for this cat in the basket story, it just reminds me about the rituals that we follow in India. There are many, many rituals. And if we ask, like, growing up the years, like when we ask, we just like sometimes just told with the punishment, like, if you don't do this, then there will be this and that punishment. So, it kind of creates so much fear and all the negative emotion, and then then we just tend to follow it without even asking next time, and then just it continues. So I think it's very similar to this story.
Thank you, Mataji. So we must ask in a humble, genuine way. Krishna also asked before the Indra Puja was going on, right? And remember that they asked his parents, why are we doing this? What's the rule? And then the Govardhan Leela starts with this. Okay, so we'll pause here and continue tomorrow. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Chakulpati Rukhischa. Pasandagya Evacham.
Hare
Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo.
Krishna.
Hare Bol.